Yeah.
All right,
How are you?
Let's call
Good
this
to see
meeting
you.
to order. I'm going to call the Dover-Sherborn Regional School Committee meeting of February 25th, 2020 to order at 6:32. Thank you all for coming. Let's do a quick community comments. No? All right, let's go to Wyatt. Would you like to share?
Yes, not much on behalf of student council this week, other than our annual Red Cross blood drive, which is on Friday, February 28th this week. And we are looking to get blood from at least 34 students and possibly faculty. So that's, yes, and I was just going to point out Dr. Keogh is giving blood on Friday, so we hope to see him there.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
And that's all for me this week.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Is it only for seniors or juniors and seniors?
It's for, you have to be 16 with a parent permission, and then 17 and 18, you're good. So we have a good amount of sophomores and then juniors and seniors. So.
Do you still have slots?
Do we have, no, I don't think so.
That's great. That means you're full.
We're full.
That's
Plenty of
awesome.
blood.
That's great.
But the problem is that not everybody will show up, so we try and book it over. Like we try and get more people than we need. So
That's a really good drive.
Yes.
They always do a nice job. The kids are,
Pretty
very
into it.
talkative and into it. It's awesome. That's why I signed up. You hooked me.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think that was a really good update because that's important stuff you guys are doing, so thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to move on then to the financial report. Dawn,
Sure,
would you
yeah.
like to
So
introduce?
tonight we're pleased to have Bob Brown with us. So Bob is our auditor and makes an annual visit with us to present our financial statements.
Good evening.
Yeah, in your packet you received the draft of the fiscal year 19 financials along with the OPEB valuation report, so that you sort of have another big piece of the puzzle of our financials. And I will turn it over to Bob to do a small presentation for you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good to be here again. Fiscal 19 audit went well. Dawn and her staff do a good job. And I'd like to say I have some pretty good staff I send out here as well. And they do a good job for me. The fiscal 18 report had the big change where the OPEB post-employment benefits liability got placed on the financials 100%. The district has been addressing that liability. The latest actuarial report comments on you made some benefit changes, and it provided a $7.5 million immediate benefit towards the liability issue. So that was very good. So it's brought that number down during fiscal 19. Also, I know you've adopted a trust and you intend to provide funding during fiscal 20 going forward, and then that'll also help toward bringing that liability down and help keep bond ratings, because I may have mentioned last year the bonding people always knew about the liability, and now it's on the books, so it's a little more glaring, and you'll differentiate yourselves with other governments by how you address that liability. If I have quite a few town clients, if one town hasn't addressed it at all and another town is very aggressive, it will make a difference in the differential bond rating between the two over time. So it's good that it's going to be addressed, and it's one of those things that has to become part of your annual operating budget essentially, so it gets seriously addressed and brought down in the future. We did not issue a management letter. We didn't have anything significant enough to produce a management letter. Also, you didn't require a federal grant audit. The district had about $370,000 in federal aid. If you had over $750,000 in federal aid, you'd require another report on the federal grants. And other than that, everything went well during the audit. And I usually mention also the state did provide $4.5 million contribution to the teacher retirement system on behalf of the district during the year. They're responsible for a liability of $44 million. So we hope the state does well as well. Other than that, I don't have anything else particular to point out, but if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
The OPEB trust is good news.
Yes.
That's something that we've worked hard on, I think, and I would argue that it was a smart move according to what you're saying. And it really does make a difference in those bond ratings.
It will over time because, there'll be a group addressing the liability aggressively, and they will keep or improve their rating. And those that don't may see it downgrade.
Both Sherborn and Dover are doing that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
As you look at these statements and the work that you did in the context of other municipalities or other things, were there any areas that you said nothing to drive a management letter, but were there any other things that you would advise us to advise the district to clean up or to do differently or to put more kinds of controls in, or how do you feel about that?
The only thing, operationally, I don't have anything to point out, but in the big picture, I've been to a lot of conferences and a lot of concern about cybersecurity. Governments are being ransomed, you have student records which are confidential. If I were to mention anything in general, I'd say, cybersecurity is an issue. It's not really on the accounting side, but school security is always becoming a bigger issue all the time. And I was just driving here and I was thinking of one of my towns and school districts haven't planned if this virus thing turns into something else. I don't know if anyone plans for that, but I haven't asked, so I don't know. But also you have to consider, like, if something happened to the business office, or how would you do business the next day? Your computer systems, how much the cloud's being used. Those are things that, the big picture items that can always be reviewed.
Mm-hmm. Good advice. And we've done some of it, but there's probably room for more work.
Right. We have addressed some of it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
And thank you, Doug,
Yep.
and
My
and
pleasure.
your office.
Yep.
Thank
Other
you.
work.
Tell them. Thank you. I guess we'll see you again next year.
God willing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay,
So
yep.
the other memo I provided you, and just to actually notify, or to just publicly note, is that this past week we did receive our certification of your E&D. So I provided you with that information in your packet. On the fiscal year 21 budget update, as I said in the memo, we don't have any new budget information to present tonight, but I wanted to just keep a little small tickler list of things that we probably could be bringing forward to you prior to your open hearing next week. And that is just that we are finalizing the bus contract. So as I noted in the report, we had the bid opening on the 12th. We did have 10 requests for the bid specs, but did only have one bid on the day of the bid opening, which was Michael J. Conley. And I'm at a conference call with them tomorrow just to go over some of the details of their bid, and then we will bring forward each of your individual contracts, because you each have your own contract, the 3 districts, at your March meeting. So we'll have that on the agenda for next Tuesday night to approve the 3-year contract, and we will do the same for Sherborn and the same for Dover. So we're not quite ready to say whether or not that's going to be any kind of budgetary adjustment, or if we had enough in the reserve that we'd already put aside. So we're continuing to look at that. On Thursday is the West Suburban Health Group board meeting where we will finalize the rates for next year. So I don't have that information for you tonight, but any adjustments that potentially could come out of that, again, we'll present next week. If you remember, we built the budget with a 10% increase in premium, so anything above or below that would potentially cause an adjustment one way or the other. So our indications are that we'll probably be under the 10. The rates just aren't finalized, so I don't want to say how much, but we could potentially bring forward an audit adjustment for your healthcare expense for next year. And again, we're holding the reserve, as you know, for all the bargaining contracts, because as of next Tuesday, they won't be ratified, obviously. So we'll just roll that forward in the budget, and we'll see how it all plays out as things come to be finalized. The other issue that we'll discuss too, so along with if we make any kind of healthcare adjustment, remember we want to try to fund the OPEB. So I'm looking at only using money within our existing budget and not asking for more money. So if we do have potential healthcare savings, I'm looking at some of that potentially to be played out. We also, if you know, are carrying a savings this year that we may, in this year's healthcare, that the way that we can sort of put that into OPEB is I can bring forward that we will increase the health expense for the retiree between the pay-as-you-go and OPEB. And if I can take some of the savings this year and use E&D, so we're not asking the town for more money, but using E&D, then that's a way that I could take some of the savings from this year to contribute next year. So that's sort of the things that we're playing with right now that we'll finalize once we know some of these last little bits of detail and present on Tuesday night. For you.
Okay, yeah, so the way that it works next Tuesday is that we will have our meeting. Dawn will present all these updates. It's all coming in. Actually, will be more info, I think, than we had initially potentially anticipated.
It could be. I just don't know what's gonna materialize into an adjustment and what's gonna stay as is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right.
Like the bus contract
Exactly.
and stuff. So that will be
and the healthcare.
and the healthcare.
premiums.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about that first on Tuesday. Then we will open up for our public budget hearing. Then we come back into our, so we sort of end our meeting or pause it.
Yeah.
Open session, come back to our meeting,
Right.
and then we'll finish up.
Because you will vote your final. I'll have all the motions for you for your budget and also for capital.
So can you touch on the capital?
Yeah, so capital, I did. That is one new piece of information I have for you tonight, and I've presented you with a. I'll bring your big cheat sheets. I'll do that on Tuesday. We are adding one item for next year, and that's a core switch / router for technology. And
Is that in the packet? Let me rephrase that.
Yes.
Is that before or after the OPEB?
It's the last page.
It's the last page.
Okay, thank you.
It should be like, I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
much
got
more
it.
how-
Yeah, got it. I got it.
The
Thank
last
you.
page.
So we're adding a $30,000 item to your capital request for fiscal year 21, which represents the core switch. It is up for replacement. It was last purchased in fiscal year 12. It also is going to be important to get that in order for us to do the phone system. So it's sort of this rolling thing that we have. So we are putting that onto the fiscal year 21 budget, and we'll have you approve that new total number of $575,000 next week.
Is that still something that we'll be able to handle without going to the town?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And so, like we know from Dawn that the E&D was certified at 4.8%, right?
Exactly.
So that in fact, this is good because it's a good use of that money to help pay for this without having to go to the town, because we have a cap at 5. We're getting close to that. If we want to be able to have the flexibility to move money through, it's good to, it's meant to be spent. So this is a good use of that.
Yeah, and remember you have almost $300,000 in the regional transportation fund that we planned on putting towards capital. And then we know we have some surpluses from this year. So all that would run through your E&D, so it's good that we're taking $575,000.
What precipitated wanting to add that at this point?
The router. Well, one is it actually Anthony had brought it forward and it got sort of lost in sort of the technology plans because the region, that's one piece that went into capital and didn't get into the operating, and we were going to push it off, but then it's fairly important for the phone system, so then we had to go ahead and just add it on.
So they're updating the phone, right?
Yeah.
We'll note that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
District wide. Okay. Does any? Oh, can I ask about the OPEB just really quickly? So, do we have to vote on the amount the next week for the?
Right. So if you remember, in the $745,000 that we're carrying for health insurance expense for retirees already in your budget, we knew some of that was going to be for OPEB funding. So it's already sort of in there. So what I'm looking to potentially add is if we want to use some of the savings from this year.
No, well, more specifically, do we have to vote a specific amount, or is it just a?
No, because we'll say in that line item is pay as you go. It's all funding for retirees.
Okay.
We can specifically break it out, but it's going to be sort of all in that same line item. Both
Okay.
pay as you go and funding to the OPEB. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
So there's
we-
more than enough in there.
Right, that's where we're we're holding. that.
Right. Well, no, I think
But
you've
with
made
these
clear. I was just wondering if we
specifically,
needed to know a specific.
Yeah. If we say that's included in that number, I think
Then
that
that-
will suffice.
That suffices. All right.
At the next
thanks.
meeting, since we're talking about OPEB, we will be bringing 2 votes to the committee regarding OPEB, and I'll run those by you, Judy and Maggie, before they go out, that need to take place so that we can continue to move along the process. So we'll have those ready to also come in the packet. Hopefully, it'll be in your packet Friday.
And we are close to a decision or a situation with a vendor.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yes, okay.
Yes, and so that's what these votes will
Great.
be moving that forward.
Great.
Yes. So on your upcoming meetings, as you know, we'll be meeting tomorrow evening here. Okay, so everyone got that? We're meeting here
at 7.
at 7.
Oh, why didn't
Yeah, it just got changed because
Just went out today.
early voting's happening in Dover and we couldn't use that
Email.
space.
I didn't see that
Who-
either.
who's- who's-
Okay.
Oh,
I don't
good.
think so.
Who sent that out?
Oh, I
didn't
sent it
see
to
that?
the chairs for you guys to let your members know.
I have it written down here. Tomorrow, the meeting's here now. It's the second time I've done that I have not.
Well, I didn't
passed
want to
stuff
go. I
on.
didn't
I'm
want to
sorry.
tell everyone, so I just told the 3 chairs. To
I
let
didn't
their
even
committee
catch
members
that
know.
it was only to us.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So it's here.
So you know that, right?
Remind me the
You-
time.
7 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
can
it's
you
in
let
my
the
notes
rest of
to
your
share.
members know? We
7
ran into
p.m.
a snag
here.
because the early voting's already set up and we can't use that space.
I'll send out an email.
Yeah. Okay. I let Andy know, and I think Stephen knows.
Is there anyone else I need to let know that I have
No,
not?
I think we're good.
Sorry.
All
Do
right,
we-
so-
we-
Michael,
Stephen does.
I will let Michael know.
wear a
Yeah,
mask.
Stephen knows.
We,
I'm not letting him come.
we.
He's watching
Michael's sick.
TV.
Quarantined.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, he's
quarantined.
Right. We do this, I know we have to, we have the same meeting with Sherborn.
We do it with everybody. So
everybody.
both advisory and warrant are all together. It's like one big
Yeah, we
happy
did, you
family.
did it that way
Yes.
last year, but I thought we
Yes.
did it in Sherborn.
Well,
did.
It was in Sherborn, but it goes from
rotates.
Sherborn to Dover to Sherborn to Dover. So that's some people have
That's
to.
where that's why I'm thrown off.
And
So
we
to-
do it with Dover School Committee and Sherborn School Committee, so this
Yeah, I
is just
get
the
it.
region one,
The
then we'll
region
have the
doesn't,
Sherborn
and we
one.
bring everybody
it
together
doesn't
in
apply
here.
to you guys.
Okay, I get it.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
Normally it's Dover's turn to be the host. It's just now we
Yes.
have voting.
Yeah.
We only have one space.
But there's still, it was still Dover, so it still counts, and next
Yeah.
year it'll be in Sherborn.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So yeah, so it's an opportunity, and I will be sending out to y'all the PowerPoint.
Mhm.
Don and I, just after this, are gonna do a couple of last things, so you'll look for that. I promise that I will send that to all of you, with a reminder that it's 7 p.m. here tomorrow, of the budget presentation, and it's a draft, because as Dawn said, we've got a lot of stuff that's still up in the air that hopefully we will have then for the public meeting next Tuesday.
Have it revised.
Have it revised and updated. Right.
But it gives an opportunity and with the talking points to share with the 2 finance committees. So it's like I called it a dress rehearsal for your open hearing. So yeah, so that should be tomorrow night, and probably we're thinking probably no more than an hour, because then we've got the Sherburne following the joint. So that's what we're
All right.
hoping.
All right. Are you
Any
good?
other questions you guys have? Because, okay, I wanted to make sure the committee was all set before we had all the finance people with us tomorrow night. Okay.
And if you look at the PowerPoint and you have questions, we can
The
chat tomorrow.
PowerPoint that you have not yet sent.
Right, because Dawn and I are finishing it.
Okay, good. I was like, I don't know.
I haven't sent it yet.
But we should send questions when you send it, in between when you send it and 7 p.m. We should send you
Right.
questions if we have questions.
Well, if you would like, we also really have until next Tuesday
Right,
to address all of
When it
that.
goes live.
right. Except
But
we
yes.
do want to go to our colleagues and the thing, like, is prepared with all
Yes.
that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
But
All
this, the stuff in your PowerPoint presentation,
It's
it's not
nothing
going to
new.
surprise anyone.
Yeah.
it is
You guys
absolutely
all
nothing
heard it.
new.
Yeah.
Right. It's
It's all of this
The
It's all of
regurgitation
this,
of what
right.
we've
in a
already.
PowerPoint.
Yes.
Mhm.
Great. We love PowerPoint.
Yeah. I
Okay.
would want to do a Prezi, but
No.
Beth had to teach me to do.
No.
Teach me.
No.
I'll have her a workshop.
2:25.
Yeah, thanks. So everyone's good with that? Anything else? Are we good?
No, that's it.
Thank you all
Anything?
for your time.
All right. Move to adjourn.
Oh, my
Second.
All in
Write it
favor?
down.
Woo.